What's up guys, my name is Ace and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Call of Duty Vanguard. And in today's episode we're going to be covering the Volkssturmgewehr, or we'll just call it the Volk throughout the rest of the episode. And diving right in, as always, let's start it off with our damage profile, which with this gun, it's going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill to the body, and this applies to the limbs or the torso, doesn't matter, it's still going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill. As for our headshot damage, we deal 42 damage up close, 30 at a distance, and what this means is up close, we just need one single headshot mixed in with body shots to reduce the number of shots to kill. Then getting into our rate of fire, this is a little bit on the faster side at 750 rounds per minute, and this means our time to kill potential is going to be 240 milliseconds in the 4-shot kill range, which is quite a competitive time to kill for an assault rifle, right out of the box without even having any attachments on here. As for our headshot time to kill, if we manage to land that one single bullet to the head combined with body shots, this is 160 milliseconds, which is extremely fast. As for our bullet velocity, this is just standard for assault rifles at 885 meters per second, and now let's move into our range value, which isn't amazing for an assault rifle. It's only 27.5 meters. This actually has the worst range profile out of any of the assault rifles in the game, so it's definitely not looking like this is a long range gun. As for hardcore, we can get a one-shot kill anywhere in the torso within our maximum damage range. So within that 27.5 meters, this is a one-shot kill as long as you hit the torso. And then beyond that, it's only going to be a one-shot kill if you hit the head or the neck. Anywhere else will be a two-shot kill. Moving on, let's have a look at Hipfire, and the Volk falls basically right in the middle of assault rifles. It's a pretty decent Hipfire spread, but it's also not like amazing or anything. And then let's talk about idle sway, which as you can see here, we've got pretty standard idle sway for an assault rifle. Your sights will move a little bit when aiming down sight, but not too much. More importantly, let's have a look at our recoil, and the big thing I noticed with the Volk is there's a lot of visual recoil. It looks like your gun is bouncing around a lot more than it actually does, because when you look at the actual recoil pattern, this isn't bad at all. The Volk's actually quite accurate. It kicks pretty much just straight up with a little bit of a lean to the left. There's no real massive jump between each shot fired, although there's a bit more initial recoil than sustained recoil with this. But yeah, overall, not quite as bad as I expected it to be based on the visual recoil. After that though, let's have a look at our aim down sight spread, or the bloom with this gun. And when the game launched, the Volk had really bad bloom, although that has been tightened up very significantly, so this should generally not be causing any issues for you within the effective ranges of the Volk. Moving on, let's have a look at our handling, which is very good with this gun. Our aim down sight time is the fastest out of all of the assault rifles at 190 milliseconds, and our sprint out time is also really good for an assault rifle at 217 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time. As for our reload add time, this is also quite fast for an assault rifle, at least at 1.54 seconds. This is the second best in the assault rifle category. Then when it comes to our movement speeds, the Volk actually has best-in-class mobility. It's got the best base movement speed, the best aim-down sight stray speed, and the best sprint movement speed out of all of the assault rifles. So that's the base Volk with no attachments on it, and so far this is actually looking like a pretty good gun, at least for like close to mid ranges. Now let's dive into some of the most important attachments to have a look at, and of course we're going to start this off with the barrels and how they impact our recoil on this gun. When it comes to the first barrel, the 428mm, this one is great for improving our recoil. It does cut down on a little bit of that side-to-side bounce. It makes it just a bit more consistent while also lowering the total magnitude. Whereas with the other two barrels, both of these are going to be increasing the amount of recoil that we see. So if you're going for an accurate setup, definitely go with the first barrel, not the second two. And taking this a step further, let's have a look at how these barrels impact our ranges and time to kill. And as you can see, our time to kill values actually aren't changed at all with the barrels, because none of these impact our rate of fire or our damage with the Volkssturmgewehr. However, you will see that first barrel also very noticeably increases our range, so this is actually looking like a really good barrel. Significantly helps with our recoil and pretty significantly helps with our range value, whereas the third barrel will slightly decrease our range value, and then the final barrel, this one doesn't change our range or our time to kill at all. And since none of these barrels actually impact our time to kill potential, there's not much else to say about them. Normally I'd do a deep dive into each of them, but you can already see the primary effects there with the range and the recoil. So now let's move on to our magazines, and of course we'll start this off with the recoil as well. And as you can see here with the 7.62 Gorenko ammunition, this is going to be significantly reducing our recoil. That's actually a very good improvement to recoil, whereas 30 Russian short will increase our recoil. It increases the total magnitude just a little bit, but then it also really noticeably increases the amount of side-to-side deviation we have with our recoil, and that is the hardest type of recoil to deal with. As for our ranges with these different magazine attachments, with the 7.62 Gorenko magazines, this will noticeably reduce our range value, and it also turns this into a 5 to 6 shot kill rather than a 3 to 4 shot kill, which means our time to kill values across the board are going to be quite noticeably slower. Whereas with the 30 Russian short, we see the opposite. It actually turns this into a 3 to 4 shot kill, which very noticeably improves our time to kill potential. And on top of this, it's also increasing our range value. But let's dive a little bit deeper into that 7.62 Gorenko. This is on 2 different magazine attachments. Like I said, this is now going to make it a 5 to 6 shot kill. However, our rate of fire is improved quite noticeably, up to 811 rounds per minute. But this improvement to our rate of fire doesn't make up for the fact that it takes an extra shot to kill, so our time to kill potential is very noticeably slowed down. And a 296 millisecond time to kill up close is just not a very competitive time to kill. And as a result, I would just say that you should likely stay away from this ammunition type. Sure, you can make the gun a lot more accurate, but what good is that going to do you if you can no longer win gunfights due to your slower time to kill? As for the 30 Russian short, on the other hand, this is the 5th magazine attachment. This turns it into a 3 to 4 shot kill with a reduction to our fire rate down to about 682 rounds per minute. So that's a noticeable reduction, but our time to kill potential is amazing with this. It's going to be a 3 shot kill anywhere in the body in the maximum damage range for a 176 millisecond time to kill. That is insanely fast for body shots. But we do have to keep in mind this does very noticeably increase the amount of recoil we experience, and as a result, I would say this is an excellent choice for a close to mid-range build, but if you are trying to make a super versatile build that stretches out to longer ranges, this may not be your best choice unless you stack really heavy on other attachments to help with recoil. So there we go, those are the important attachments that I wanted to cover with this gun. Now let's move into some excellent attachment combinations that you can use on this gun. And the first one is the big drum. This is the one that uses the 60 round drum magazine. There's no ammo conversion here, so you just deal the base amount of damage, which still has a very competitive time to kill at 240 milliseconds. This particular setup is also very accurate, primarily due to that first barrel attachment that we're using on this. So you can definitely stretch the ranges out with this and still be very accurate. Another great thing to mention with this is we have gung ho on this, which means we have a 0 millisecond sprint out time. We can fire immediately after a sprint, which actually makes us pretty solid for an aggressive rushing class setup as well. And I would just consider this to be an excellent versatile way to run this gun, and you don't even need to have this gun like fully maxed out in order to get all of these attachments. Many of them you can unlock fairly early on with this gun. So that's the first setup, and that's a perfectly great way to run this gun. Now let's move on to my second setup though. This is the setup that dominates, but you do have to have the gun pretty much maxed out to get this setup. With this one, we are running that 30 Russian short, which means it's a very consistent 3 to 4 shot kill anywhere in the body for an insane time to kill potential of 176 milliseconds up close. This is also surprisingly accurate because I was able to stack with a bunch of attachments to counteract the increased recoil with that 30 Russian short ammo. So you can actually stretch the ranges out just fine with this particular setup. We once again have gung ho for an instant sprint out time, so that really helps with its aggressiveness and its close range versatility. And the cherry on top of this particular setup is the ridiculously fast aim down sight strafe speed. As you can see here, you can be strafing side to side so quickly. In fact, our strafe speed while aiming down sight is faster than our movement speed when not aiming down sight, which is just completely backwards, but also really powerful. And that just makes this gun so incredibly versatile and powerful that it competes with some of the best out there. This is honestly one of the best weapon setups that you can use in Call of Duty Vanguard. So if you already have this gun fully maxed out, definitely try it with these particular attachments. I think you're going to be very impressed with that. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the Volk. As for my opinion on this gun, I think it's actually really solid and quite underrated. I don't see a whole lot of people using this in my lobbies, and I guess I can kind of see why, because initially when you start using this, it really feels like it has so much more recoil than it actually does. But once you start getting a few attachments on there and getting a good handle over that visual recoil, this gun is excellent, and I really enjoy using it, especially once you get it maxed out and you get that 30 Russian short ammo type. Now, of course, that is just my opinion of the Volkssturmgewehr. I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments section below. What do you guys think about this gun? Do you agree with me? Do you think this is quite underrated and is way better than a lot of people make it out to be? Or do you think it's just kind of subpar? Just let me know down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I've now covered every one of the assault rifles and a few of the SMGs. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.